everybody, welcome to Cedar Creek Homestead. This is Josie, and we're going to have a little talk here this evening. And I was going to tell you, I had this video done. I'm having a few little struggles just learning all the ins and outs of videoing and editing and all that, and it's just kind of been thrown in my lap a little bit, and so I'm learning all the ins and outs of it and making some mistakes, and sometimes I don't catch the mistakes. Like the last video I put out, I had to put it up twice because somehow I left out the middle of the video and didn't catch it. And I thank those of you that were kind enough to go ahead and watch the re-edited video and make comments about it and not get me too bad because of the mistake. Well, guess what? I made another one. It wasn't really a mistake other than it was really technical difficulties. And I try to have my Tuesday night video done the day before and get it uploaded because we live in a rural area and it's slower to get everything uploaded to YouTube and to get all the processing and everything done. Well, anyway, try to get it done the day ahead of time, and that requires, of course, getting your thoughts together and knowing what you're going to say and what you're not going to say. Well, then we ended up having company that stayed late, and I don't mind that. We love our family and friends that come and visit, and so we enjoyed the visit with them. And then it was time for me to make the video, and I finally got the video made after a couple of times of troubles with the camera, and got set down to begin to edit. And the last part this time of the video was totally gone, so I had to get another camera out, and I had already changed into my night clothes and my gown, and I had to go and took my hair down, and so I had to go back and get back into the dress that I had on for the previous video, and try my best to remember everything that I had said, and the best I could, you know. And so I got started on that, was doing pretty good, and I heard click, and that camera turned off, and it said the SD card was full. So by that time it was getting really late, and I thought there's no way I can get this video done, get it edited, and get it up to uploading to YouTube without making some kind of mistake, because even in my prime condition of the day, I make mistakes, and so I knew that it wasn't a good idea. So anyway, I went to bed last night thinking, hey, Lord, help me to hold on to the end of this video so I can redo it in the morning and add it to the end and make a smooth transition that maybe most people wouldn't notice that it was different. And several times in the night I woke up and I would think about that, and I was like, Lord, please help me. Please help me with this video. Well, when I got up this morning, the Lord helped me with the video, but guess what He did? My mind changed totally on what I wanted to speak about, and so now I'm bringing something totally different, a whole new direction, really. And I had kind of wondered what that was like. You know, my husband Howie, most of you know, was a preacher, and there was times I've heard him and other preachers as well say that they prepared their message and you know, getting ready to preach, and the Lord just changed the message. And I guess that's one reason why you're supposed to be instant in season, ready, prepared all times, because you never know when the opportunity is going to arise to be able to speak. And in those cases, he was scheduled to speak, but the Lord changed his message. And that's what the Lord's done with me, is to change what I'm going to speak to you about. And I'm not professing to be anything, any great orator or anyone that's just going to come to speak to you in as simple as I can. And what you see is what you get, and we'll have a good time. And what I wanted to speak to you about today is your life, and asking the question about changing the end. And that thought really came to me because of the video that I just explained to you, changing the end of the video, because I was trying my hardest to keep my thoughts and try to make it as close to what I had actually said that wasn't getting recorded as I could, so that I kept it the same. But the ending for this particular thing did change. But the question that I have come up with this morning, the Lord has asked me, is can we change the ending? So let's discuss that. Let's talk about our life, and let's see what kind of answer that we might possibly come up with at the end of this video. Let's talk about our life today. And what I want to use as a prop, so to speak, is a book. And it doesn't matter. This happens to be a copy of Heidi. And I love young readers literature. Read this book when I was a kid, and I still like the book. And so I've got it on my shelf. But anyway, regardless of what the book is, I just am using it for demonstration purposes. Let's discuss our life. Each of us have our own life, right? Our own book, so to speak. From cover to cover. From the beginning to the end. So from when we're born to when we leave this world. And all of this stuff in between is our life, right? All of it is our life. And your story is going to be different from my story. We all have a different story to tell. We may have similarities. You know, you can't help in life to have your life that is a lot like other people's life, but they won't be exactly like someone else's life, because we're designed and purposed for to have our own calling and our own life and our own ambitions and all of the things. But we each have one. Each and every one of us have one. Now, bear with me. I tell you this every time. I have to take notes, because it doesn't mean I'll stick with them. I chase rabbits from time to time, and I guess everybody probably does. But I'm going to try to follow my notes a little bit. And when you open your book and you see all these words, every word, every sentence, every paragraph, every chapter represents a part of your life. We all have them. We all have a story. They're events. Your life can, your story might be a drama. And we know a lot of people that are drama queens and drama kings. And I don't like drama. Now, I like to watch a drama. I like to read that. But I don't like, you know, the word drama. I don't like what that brings up. Every day something else, you know. I try to steer clear of people that have that kind of, all that kind of stuff, a big old mess going on in their life every day, because it's chaotic and it makes me nervous, and I don't like to live my life that way. I like the peaceful life that I have, that the Lord has given to me, and I feel that I'm blessed for that. But anyway, your life, each of us, our life can be filled with drama. It can be filled with suspense. It can be filled with triumph and successes and failures. Or it can be a combination of all those things in our life. But from the time we're born to the time that we leave this world in death, our life can be many things. You know, it might be that you have a few chapters that are drama-filled, and then you run into something that is sorrowful. You know, that you face a death in your life. There could be times of great joy, great sorrow, comedy. You know, all those things come into our lives. Sometimes we have a lifetime full of those things. Other times our story changes to get us from point A to point B where the Lord wants us. Things happen in our lives, but it's all still part of our story. Your life can be your story that's in here. It can be farm life. It can be great adventures that you've traveled to, you know, far away places, and you've seen all these beautiful and wonderful things. And there's lots of people that love adventure. Now, I'm a farm girl, I'm a country girl, and I'm satisfied being right here. I'll just be honest with you, the furthest I ever go is to see my family that lives in Arkansas. And of course, with all the sickness this last year, I haven't been home since 2019 to see them. And so I've been right here, and I am honestly satisfied with my life here. But I know that there are other people that have great ambitions to travel the world, and they go and they see the tall mountain ranges, and they see the volcanoes, and they go to the ocean, and you know, they scuba dive, and they do all of these great adventures, and that's wonderful for them. They have a satisfied life that way. You know, and maybe your life, the summation of your life is that you had your dream job. You got to do the thing that you always dreamed about doing from the time that you were a young child, and you grew up and you went to school and you modeled your life in a way that you were pushing that path. That's the way you were going, and your life can be a great story about your dream job. Maybe you were going to be, you wanted to be a great physician and discover some kind of cure to a disease that's dreadful. Hey, that's wonderful. That's a good story. You know, we all have a story. Sometimes in the pages of your story, you're going to have family and friends in there. And you're going to have people that have come into your life, and you're going to have people that's left your life. And we don't always understand, you know, why we met these people or why they had to leave. And sometimes that brings about great grief and sorrow when a person leaves. Sometimes they leave in anger, and sometimes they just, for no known reason, they just left our life. But I like to think that when a person comes into our life and they leave after a while, now I'm not necessarily meaning, you know, like with me in my instance with Howie leaving me, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about somebody that just came in for a little while and they left after a while. Sometimes a person comes into our life because where we're at in our life, it's important for us to get a life lesson out of that person. And we learn and we move on from that. And we should be thankful that God moves people in. And sometimes we're thankful when God moves the person out. Because sometimes a person comes in and they do great damage. And I'm thinking about, I got tickled because I was thinking the last couple of mornings when I went out to feed my chickens and the livestock, I've heard over across the pond some wild hogs. I can hear them over there squealing and carrying on. And they, around here in Oklahoma, and I'm sure in some of the states that some of you are living in, I know Texas does too, we have a problem with wild hogs. They're invasive. They are in these family groups, you know, sometimes quite a few of them. There'll be the boars, and there'll be several sows and all these little babies. And they do great damage to your property and to your hay fields and your pastures for your livestock. They root it up and looking for food, and they wallow out. Not only do they do damage, but they are dangerous. If you spook them or if they feel threatened in any way, they'll get after you, and they can do great damage. They've got those tusks, and they can kill a person. If if they got you down, they can kill, your dogs or whatever. We have to really be careful around here. And I would take you up there and show you, but one, it's dangerous. Two, I would probably never be quiet enough to sneak up to let you see them. But if I get an opportunity, I'll try to get some shots and show you the damage that they do and the reason why we try to get rid of them. But nonetheless, sometimes a person comes into your life like those wild hogs just to destroy and tear up and try to ruin your story. And God, in His mercy, moves those people on out of the way. And we should be thankful for that. Be thankful for the ones that come in and are a blessing to us, but be thankful too for the ones that are in to destroy, that God reveals them and moves them on out. And that, we need that a lot, because this day and age, there's a lot of people that are out to destroy us, and they're out to point fingers and to make us look a certain way in the eyes of those around us, and are doing great damage. Just think about in the news, we hear all about, these people that are out to get rid of other people. I don't mean kill them or anything nefarious like that. But if you stand against what they stand for, or you stand for what they're against, they will not stop until you are destroyed, or your livelihood, your business, your character, whatever. It has become one of those worlds to where your rights are being infringed on, because what you're speaking and the life that you're living is against what they're promoting. So anyway, be thankful that when God moves those people out of the way. Now back to our lives. Our book, our life's book, is a history book in part. It's a lot of things, but the first thing is a history book. The chapters that we've already lived, say, okay, so I'm 50, so let's say half the book. Realistically, it's probably more like this, but let's just say 50-50, half the book. Okay, so these chapters that's behind me, that's history. I cannot go back and change any of that. And believe me, there are things that I would like to go back and change. There are things in my life that I am ashamed that I was a partaker of. There are things that I miss. You know, my Howie, my granny, my mama, different ones. They're back here. At least their lives on this earth are back here. And we cannot change history. We can't change our personal history. We can't change our the history of our country. We can't change the history of the world. It is what it is. Even if you were to pick up the Bible, you cannot change the history of the Bible. We know that in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and it goes on and tells us all of the things. It goes to Adam and Eve and the original sin, and all through there it goes through and tells the story. And we can't change that. We could try to change it. We could, you know, take a book down off the shelf and write it and say, this is really what happened. But that's not the truth of it. What's happened already in our life is history, and we have to learn from the history, and we have to move forward. We have to live in the chapter that's being written right now. I can't live in the past. I have memories of the past. I have beautiful and wonderful memories, and I'm so thankful for those memories. I can sit and dream and remember all day the things of the past. And I can look to the future and I can make plans about the future, but I can't live in the future. I have to live right here in the chapter that's being written right now. And you do too. You have to live right where it's being recorded. Your life is being recorded, and you have to live in that. We have to, it's just not possible to live in the past. It's not possible to jump to the future. We have to live for the moment, live for the day. We have to live our lives and be present. You know, a lot of people try to check out. They try to move away from the day-to-day life because they think it's mundane, or they think that it's beneath them, or it's just not what they intended it to be. You know, we all start out on a path in life and we paint this pretty picture, and I did too, you know. I painted a pretty picture of what life was going to be like, and I expected to live, you know, if the Lord tarries, and Christian people say that a lot, and what we simply mean is living until the rapture. If we do that, I thought that I would live to be an old lady, and I guess I'm working on that. I guess I'm partly there. And I thought that I would have Howie by my side, and that we would live and be old grandparents rocking on the porch and loving on our grandchildren and all of our family members that come along. And I can still do that, but the plans changed a little bit. And am I sorrowful? Yeah. Am I grieving? Yeah. But the Lord has me, and He knows my story, and I'm thankful for that. He's the author and the finisher of my faith, and I'm thankful, very thankful for that. But we have to live in the moment. And You know, going through all the things that I went through with Howie, losing him, my very best friend, you catch yourself in your grieving process just sitting still, you know, not wanting to go on. In fact, I'll just be totally honest with you, because I know Jesus and I know that I'm saved, and I trust that one day I'm going to be in heaven. I was like, Lord, I'm ready to go now. Now, I wasn't talking about ending anything or something like that, but I thought, you know, I'm ready to go too. But the Lord is so much smarter than we are. Aren't you glad about that? We have a work to do. If we're still here, if we're still breathing, I still have breath in my lungs. This sickness that we all suffered from did not take my life. And that leads me to believe that until my time is up, I have a work to do. I have people that I need to speak with. I have things that I need to teach. I think I have things that I need to learn. And I have a responsibility to my family. And I'm taking that on with all humbleness, because I am nothing without the Lord. But my story's not done. My story is still going on. How long it'll last until I get to here, I don't know. God knows. I don't know. But I have to continue to live. And I have to continue to put one foot in front of the other. And that's what we all have to do. You know, any good book will have you in anticipation, turning the pages. You know, they say, well, that's a page turner. And you're excited. You know, when you're living your best life in the physical, we know that life to come is our best. But here and the now, when we're living and we're enjoying life and we're doing the best that we possibly can, and doing all that we can to know that we're providing for ours, and we have a peaceful and joyful life, then our life does become a page turner. We look forward to the next thing that we've got coming, and so that we, you know, that we can face it with all grace, and knowing that God is moving, and that we get to see new life be born. And on our farm, I get to see, you know, that it's soon to be spring, and the new baby calves are arriving, and we'll have baby chickens and baby ducks, and hopefully in the future, the kids, Blade and Cheyenne, will get to experience becoming new parents, and I'll get to be a grandma. And right now, they have that little puppy, and they call me Granny to that dog, and so I've just been calling myself Granny. So I have a grand puppy. But I'm looking forward to the day when I will get to be a granny. And so there's still things for me to do and things for me to look forward to. And your life should be full of anticipation and excitement, you know, that you can't wait to find out what the next chapter is. The plot thickens and anticipation builds, and we race towards things in this life, and things that we can't control. Think about the things that we hear on the news. You know, all of the, some things are kind of scary. Some things will make you angry, and it'll, you know, get your dander up, so to speak. And other things will sadden you, because we live in a world that is moving at a fast pace, and things are changing all the time, and people are driving their own agendas, and they want things. It's like a bunch of spoiled little preschoolers are running the country, and they want, and a lot of times we'll catch ourselves saying, we don't have any control. We can't control it. What do we do? And our life, our book of our life, a lot of times we feel like we're out of control. We can't do anything. Well, we can. We can. We can react two ways. Pardon me for just a moment. Okay. We can react two ways. Put this book down for a minute. You can wring your hands. And you can have sleepless nights. Sometimes in tears, sometimes in fear. Sometimes you have no idea what you're going to do and you feel like you're going to pull your hair out. You want to scream because those things that you see coming, you know they're not good things for our country. They're not going to be good things for your family. It's going to harm your family. And you want to scream at the television, and only if they could hear us. And we know that they can't. But we want to tell them that what you're doing is not a good thing. You are going to destroy the very things that we've been working all these years to achieve. We can do that. And we could just have our stomachs absolutely tore up in nerves, just a ball of nerves and ulcers and all of that. Or we can be on the other side of the coin. Take a deep breath. Re-examine. Reevaluate. Look at the things that's going on in the country and say, how does it affect me and my story? How does it affect my family? How is it going to affect us? And regroup. Change your thinking. Sometimes we have to change. You know, when a person, I like to write, and when I'm putting these little talks together for you guys, and maybe that's part of my problem, I overthink it. I write things down, and I'll go through and I'll scratch something out, and I'll circle something real big because I want to make sure that I get that point across. And then I'll think about it, and I'll go back and I'll add something else in, or I'll scratch something else out. And we have to be willing to do that in our day-to-day life before it's ever put in the history of our life. While we're living in the moment, we're able to go in and readjust stuff and scratch something out and circle something out, or circle something else. And if we'll do that, then we can see the things that's going on in the country. We can see the horrible thought process that's put behind some of these things, and we can readjust our family life, our personal life, so that we're less affected by what they're doing. And that means that we have to make plans. We have to reevaluate. We need to think about, okay, in this life that I'm living right now, what can I do? Well, I would say get out of debt. I know that I've brought this up on several videos, but that is really an important thing. That's something that I'm striving for. That was a very big goal of me and Howie's, was to get out of debt, and we made some great strides in it, and I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm so thankful for that. And that's what we all need to do, get out of debt. In this life that you're living right now, you need to decide, do I want to be all fretting and worried and sleepless because I can't pay my bills because I overextended and lived above my means? Or are there some things that I can, rewrite the story just a little bit, not the history, but the here and now, and say, okay, this thing right here, we need to get taken care of. Maybe we need to get healthier, eat better. Maybe we need to grow a garden and be as self-sufficient as we can be. Now, I know that there are a lot of things that I cannot provide for myself. I have a farm, I have land, I have livestock. So, for instance, for me, meat is something that I don't worry about because I have meat sources here. But I know some of you worry about that, and prices at the store. I know the meat prices are high. I know that, and I know that you stress about providing for those things for your family. So that's something to consider. Can I let go of the new purse or the new pair of shoes or the latest video game or something? And you know what? I don't think it's intended for us just to lead a life of not getting to have anything nice. That's not what I'm saying. But we need to reprioritize and regroup and get ourselves out of debt and, stock our shelves. I can't stress that enough. And I know that most people that live life like I do on a farm or a homestead, or they consider themselves preppers or whatever, that's a big thing. Stock your shelves, and stock your shelves with things that your family are going to need. Food, water, first aid, other supplies. Get yourselves out of the stores. Get yourselves out of places that's going to tempt you to spend a lot of money. And I know that there are people that have businesses and they want you in there and they need that. But you need to, try to limit yourself. If getting out of debt is your goal, then you need to figure out how to spend less money. That you're not going to get out of debt if you don't quit spending so much money. The country's the same way. We can't do a whole lot about them. When they pass bills in the middle of the night and they get things passed that money is going to all kinds of things that have nothing to do with what they're claiming it to do, we can't do anything about that. But we can take care of our own personal self, our own story. We can do that. And we just need to, if you have to write yourself a list, you have to write yourself goals that you can physically check off and say, I did that. I did that. Maybe you need to get some backyard chickens. And a lot of places, a lot of cities and towns that have always welcomed chickens are no longer welcoming chickens. Some cities don't allow you to catch water off of your house. And so, you need to consider the things that you need to do for your family. And I've bought and purchased some things after the big snow and ice storms that we had. I've purchased some things that I've added to my preparations for future, if the electric was out, or, things like that. And one of these days I'll do a video and show you. Blade's kind of laughing at me a little bit, but I'm going to try them and then I'll show them to you, because I don't really want to suggest something to you without knowing for sure that it's a good product. Nothing that anybody sponsored or anything like that. It's just something that I purchased on my own. I saw weakness. And so I'll just tell you what it is. I bought those little solar chargers for our phones and other things that we might need to have charged in an emergency. And I bought some emergency light bulbs and just a few little things like that. Just remember that there are those that want to rewrite your story. And you shouldn't don't give them the power to do that, because if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. If you let them change a little bit of your story, if you let them cause you to realign yourself, readjust yourself to what they want, and it's not something that you particularly believe, they'll continue to do that. Once you give a little bit, they'll be right there again wanting you to give a little bit more. You mark my words, that's what they'll do. We see in this nation today that some of the things that we practice and some of the things that we believe in, it happens because we gave an inch. We gave a little bit, and now we're paying for those things with worse things that they've introduced to us. And we have to be careful, and don't let anybody else write your story for you. They shouldn't be able to tell you how you should live, how you should think, how you should feel, and they should definitely not be telling you where you can go and where you can't. And all of these things, our freedoms, guys, are under attack. Our story's being written. Our physical story, our personal story, and our nation's story is being written. And once those things are history, they cannot be changed. You can change going forward, meaning you can adopt a new law, or you can adopt, and that's where they're going. They're wanting to redo things, and we're caught up in wanting to change history of our nation, and we cannot change it. Can we learn from it? Did things happen in our nation's history that were not the best things? Of course. There's things that, slavery and atrocities and killings and wars and all these kind of things. We didn't like all of those things. The Great Depression. we have to learn from the past and move in the future to better things. But we cannot allow others to come in and say, I'm taking your story and I'm taking it over, and from here on out, this is who I say you are. This is who we say that you're going to become. You don't let them do that. Don't let them change your story. I can't stress that enough. There are groups of people that are telling you that you have to apologize for who your story says that you are. They are telling you that deep down inside of you, you are a racist or you're something else, and you aren't aware of that. You're not conscious of that, and we need to teach you that. We need to inform you that this is the way that you are. Don't fall for that. You know what kind of person you are, and just because you know that there's this group that's rising up and trying to push these things off of you, you have the responsibility, and you have this is your story. This is your life, and they have no right, no responsibility whatsoever tied to you, other than they're just trying to change you for their own agenda. This is not theirs, it's yours. When your book is complete, meaning when you get to the end, your beginning, when you get to your end, what matters is what was between the covers of the book. What you did from point A to point B. What you did, not what they did. They might have come in and rewrote your story for you, but you're the one that's responsible for it. It's your story. And so you're the one that has to answer to it. The most importantly, what we need to prepare for in this life, in the everyday life, we know the things. Most of us, if you're listening to this, you're probably a lot in the same mindset that I'm in, and we're preparing for the close future. You know, food and water and supplies in case something did happen one day and we had to use those things. But right now I'm talking about further on in the future, when you've come to the end, when this part of the story is there, when there is no more. We need to prepare for what happens after your story ends. That's the most important thing that we can do. And most of you probably already know it, but some of you are listening and you're probably trying to figure out what I'm talking about. It simply is making sure that you know Jesus as your Lord and Savior, and that you've made preparation for after your life, your story here is complete. And I'm thankful that I live a life that I know that I can be joyful. And I'm getting better. You know, I've went through the grief process, and I'm still going through the grief process, but I'm further down the line now, further down the journey. And I can see God moving, and I know that He's got me. And the question that we started the video with was, can we change the end? Can we change the end of the story? No. The end of the story is already written. And we... sorry about that. The kids were leaving and they got me distracted. Can we change the end of the book? Now, this obviously not this book, but can we change the end of the book? The answer is no. We can't change the end of the book. It's already been written. And how we get there and what we do on the way there, you betcha, we can change that. Not the past, not what is already written, but from where we are right now in the story, moving forward, we can change that. We can't change the events. There no doubt are events that are coming in this life and in our country. We can't change those events because we have no control over them, but we can change how we react to them. We can't change when sickness comes, and we cannot change definitely when death comes, but we can change how we react to it, or we can have a plan of how to react to things that are coming. And we can make sure that if we know Jesus, then when we get to this part, when the book is closed on our physical life, and we've made preparation for the life to come, well, then we've just started living, and we're winners. And I just want to encourage you that today to take care of this. Take care of your book. Take care of your life. And make sure that you're living in the moment and you're doing the best that you can to be a good neighbor. Be a good parent. Be the best that you can be. It's worth it. It's worth it in the end. And it's especially worth it to know that Jesus is our Lord and Savior. And I hope, once again, I'll tell you, I hope I didn't ramble on too much. And I want to tell you that I love you. I appreciate you. I'm so thankful for all the kindness and concern that you all have shown to me through all of this with Howie. And I'm getting better. And I still need some prayer. In my life, in my life story, my greatest weakness now is I seem to have lost my voice as far as singing. I don't mean my singing voice. I mean I'm weak. When I try to sing, there's no power in that. There's no strength in that. There's no joy. And I need your prayers and your encouragement to get that back. And God is helping me, and slowly and surely I'm coming back from that. But I still covet your prayers, and you're my YouTube family. And I desire that of you. Also, pardon me guys, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cry. But tears are a language that God understands. Also, when you pray for me, I'll tell you there's another sweet lady that really needs a lot of prayer. And some of you probably follow her channel. Her channel name is The Needy Homesteader. And I heard her story this morning that she shared that she and her family were involved in an automobile accident on Valentine's Day that took the life of her husband, severely injured her children, and definitely severely injured her. She's in a rehab facility, and she needs your prayer, and she needs your support. And she's got a YouTube video up now that explains everything that happened, and explains some things that her family and friends are doing for her. And so if you'd like to go over and hear her story and pray for her, again, the channel name is Needy Homesteader, and she's lost her husband, and she's injured, her children are injured, and she needs a lot of help. For now, this is Josie with Cedar Creek Homestead. I'd love you, and until next time, we're gone.